In the shadowy corners of horror cinema lie films that didn't just slip under the radar. They sunk into the floorboards, waiting for someone to pull them back into the light. These cult favorites may not have had massive box office runs or big-name marketing pushes, but they've built loyal followings thanks to daring stories, unforgettable atmospheres, and scares that creep under your skin and stay there. Here are 10 cult horror films from the modern era that deserve way more hype.
There's a storm coming.
It's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better.
Number 10, We Are What We Are. Jim Mickle's remake of the Mexican original reimagines the cannibal horror subgenre as a tragic Southern Gothic tale. Set in a rain-drenched small town, the story follows two sisters struggling to carry out their family's gruesome traditions after the death of their mother. What makes this film so unsettling is its restraint. The violence simmers beneath the surface, emphasized by an atmosphere of melancholy and religious oppression. The film doesn't rely on shock value. It earns its horror through tone, slow revelation, and the emotional weight of legacy.
Thank you for the sustenance we receive.
Number 9, Resolution.
Chris, it's Michael, your best friend. Can I come up? Yeah, man. Okay, I'm coming up, all right?
This indie horror gem starts deceptively small. A man tries to force his friend into sobriety by locking him in a remote cabin. But what begins as a personal drama soon unravels into a metafictional nightmare where someone or something is orchestrating the story. Resolution is less about jump scares and more about the horror of storytelling itself. It asks disturbing questions about who's in control and whether free will exists inside the narrative you're trapped in. It's smart, eerie, and feels like the prelude to something bigger, which it literally is if you watch The Endless afterward.
We need to leave before they get here.
What would convince you that I'm not crazy?
Number 8, The Transfiguration.
Have you been hurting any animals?
Maybe thinking, but I don't do it. Not anymore.
Set in the Bronx, this somber character study follows Milo, a teenage boy who believes he might be a vampire, or at least wants to be. Director Michael O'Shea blends horror tropes with kitchen sink realism, drawing influences from Let the Right One In and Martin, while forging a style all its own. The horror here lies in how Milo processes trauma, violence, and isolation, using vampirism as a coping mechanism for his grief and detachment. It's a quiet, meditative film that delivers a gut punch of an ending and raises questions about what we become to survive.
Whatever it is you're doing, there's someone doing a whole lot worse.
Number 7, Starry Eyes. In the tradition of Black Swan and possession, Starry Eyes is a visceral, psychological descent into body horror. It follows Sarah, a struggling actress in Hollywood who lands an audition with a secretive production company, only to find herself changing in ways that are both supernatural and grotesquely physical. What sets this film apart is how brutally it critiques the entertainment industry, exposing the sacrifices demanded of women in pursuit of fame. With outstanding practical effects and a committed performance by Alex Esso, Starry Eyes is disturbing, tragic, and unforgettable.
You're being reborn.
Join us in the skies.
Number 6, Session 9.
And I gotta get construction crews in here by Columbus Day, so you got a guesstimate how long?
I've got 4 really good guys. 1 week, we're gone.
Set inside the real-life Danvers State Mental Hospital, one of the creepiest filming locations in horror history, Session 9 follows an asbestos removal crew who begin to unravel mentally and emotionally as the job progresses. The horror here is both supernatural and psychological, hinging on themes of guilt, trauma, and madness. Director Brad Anderson crafts a suffocating atmosphere through slow pacing and haunting audio recordings, and the film's finale is subtle yet deeply disturbing. This is minimalist horror done right, and it's long overdue for a major reappraisal.
actually want to be grateful, and you're about to make some decent money.
What's the catch?
Number 5, The Blackcoats Daughter.
Just calling to see where you and Mom are, if you're coming.
Worst case, they come on Friday and everyone goes home and has a really nice break.
Oz Perkins' debut feature is icy, slow, and profoundly unsettling. The film follows 2 girls stranded at a Catholic boarding school during winter break, but its fractured timeline and dreamlike tone make it much more than a typical possession story. It's about loneliness, abandonment, and how easily the devil can slip in when the world leaves you behind. Perkins crafts horror from negative space, empty hallways, distant sounds, and cold silences. The payoff is chilling, but it's the film's mood and emotional weight that linger longest.
There's something funny.
Number 4, Noroi. If you think the found footage genre peaked with Paranormal Activity, you haven't seen Noroi. This Japanese horror epic is styled like a documentary investigating supernatural events that spiral into a conspiracy involving ancient curses and demonic rituals. At nearly 2 hours, it's deliberately paced, but that slow burn pays off with some of the most frightening imagery and concepts in any horror film, period. What makes Noroi special is its realism. The performances and camera work feel so authentic, you almost forget you're watching fiction. It builds a universe you'll never forget, and one you may not want to visit again. Number 3, The Empty Man.
Hey, wait. We gotta try it.
Try what?
Calling the Empty Man.
Marketed as a teen creepypasta knockoff, The Empty Man is actually an ambitious Lovecraftian tale that mixes grief, cults, metaphysics, and the nature of thought itself. The film opens with a haunting 20-minute prologue that feels like its own standalone horror short, then shifts into a mystery that becomes more philosophical and terrifying the deeper it goes. It's messy in parts, but fascinatingly so, like Seven by way of The Thing. Now that it's finally finding its audience on streaming, The Empty Man is shaping up to be one of the defining cult horror films of the 2020s.
The Empty Man, 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 the Empty Man.
Number 2, The Invitation.
This thing is so official.
Maybe they're overcompensating. It's kind of hard to call everybody up out of the blue after 2 years.
There's something wrong at this dinner party. Karen Kusama's slow burn thriller builds its tension from subtle cues, awkward silences, offhand comments, locked doors. As old friends gather in the Hollywood Hills, grief and unresolved trauma bubble to the surface, and then the film explodes into one of the most unforgettable third acts in recent horror. The Invitation is a masterclass in paranoia, grief, and social horror, anchored by phenomenal performances and razor-sharp direction. It's a pressure cooker that rewards patience and makes you question every polite conversation at every future party.
Something doesn't feel safe here.
Don't tell me that this is normal.
Number 1, Lake Mungo.
Can you interpret dreams?
Sometimes. How do you feel when you wake up from these dreams?
This Australian faux documentary is one of the most haunting and emotionally resonant ghost stories ever filmed. Following the drowning of a teenage girl, her family begins to experience strange occurrences. And what follows is not just a supernatural investigation, but a heart-wrenching study of grief, memory, and the secrets we leave behind. With subtle scares, chilling photographic evidence, and an ending that devastates more than it terrifies, Lake Mungo has slowly grown in cult status, but it still deserves more attention. It's horror at its most human and its most tragic. If you're into unsettling stories, psychological depth, and horror that actually sticks with you, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more hidden gems and horror deep dives, and drop a comment below. Which underseen horror film do you think deserves more hype? Let's build the ultimate cult horror watch list together.